all of mankind's power, every nuclear power station, every solar panel, every coal mine, every hydroelectric plant and wind turbine, every gas turbine and car on the planet. If you were to combine every single bit of mankind's energy, constitutes only about 10% of the extra energy that we receive from the sun due to global warming. That carbon dioxide is going to be here for the long game. That is, even if you were to stop all carbon dioxide production tomorrow, a 100% dead stop, it will take hundreds to thousands of years for the carbon dioxide level in the atmosphere to return to normal via geological processes. Certainly, no one alive watching this video will ever experience the carbon dioxide level in the atmosphere actually decreasing. It took the entire population of the planet about 100 years to increase the carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere by about 30%. And we did that by burning the oil that's been under the ground for millions of years. Now, that wasn't necessarily a dumb thing to do. We get a lot of bang for the buck out of that. Gas, hydrocarbons are basically the best chemical energy storage system on the planet. And all you got to do is dig it out of the ground. It took us from the Wright brothers to flying halfway around the world in one of these things for a few $1,000 in about a century. Hell, fossil fuels powered the first stage of the Saturn V, which took us off the planet to the moon. We got a lot of bang for the buck out of that gas. But like any party where you overconsume, there's a hangover coming. In this case, it's already here. And it's not going to go away, it's going to be here for hundreds of years. All the time, sucking in 10 times more energy than the entire energy production of mankind. Now, if it's that big, I hear you ask, why isn't it more pronounced? Well, it turns out that while it's giant compared to the entire energy production of mankind, on a planetary scale, it's fairly modest. All of global warming constitutes basically a 1,000th increase in the energy that the Earth gets from the sun. So great, why don't we just pull that carbon dioxide out of the air by planting lots of trees? Well, there was actually a giant collaboration on YouTube recently that tried doing that.
You might be asking yourself, what would planting 20 million new trees do for the planet?
Well, turns out if you go through the numbers, just to make the US carbon neutral, you would have to plant about 20 million trees twice per day. And that's assuming they magically grow up to full height in a single day. And that's just to get the US back to being carbon neutral. It does nothing to reduce the carbon dioxide currently in the atmosphere. You know, that extra stuff that it took the entire of mankind 100 years of burning fossil fuels to put there. And they put the best part of $20 million into this. However, even with forests dying off, leaving hundreds of millions of dead trees in the USA alone, with massive die-offs on the Great Barrier Reef, there are still people at the highest levels of government saying that there's no such thing as global warming, that it's all just a big hoax.
All of this with the global warming and that, a lot of it's a hoax. It's a hoax. I mean, it's a money-making industry, okay?
If only there were a way to counter global warming denialists like this, and at the same time fund climate change research and climate change solutions. Well, there is. If there is no global warming, as Trump was stating here, then the planetary temperature would look something like this over the last 100 or so years.
What an impact that would make.
I'm not denying climate change, but it could very well go back. You know, we're talking about over millions of years.
That is, the chances of next year being one of the hottest top 10 on record would be about 10 divided by the total number of years on record, which is give or take 100, 150, that sort of thing. But to make it simple, let's just say there are 100 years where we have good records. So the chances of a year being in the hottest top 10 on record is about 1 in 10, about 10%. In reality, it looks like this. In fact, there hasn't been a single year in the last 35 years which hasn't been one of the hottest top 10 years on record. Well, the planetary temperature fluctuates a little, yeah, so maybe this just happened by chance. Well, we can do a rough calculation for that. The chances of any one particular year being one of the hottest 10 on record is about 10%. So the chance of that happening 2 years in a row is about 1 in 100. 3 years is about 1 in 1,000, and so forth. The chances of that happening for 35 years in a row is about 1 in a billion, if there is no such thing as global warming. So here's the wager. You bet $20 million with, say, the world's biggest global warming denier, that next year will be one of the hottest top 10 years on record. If he's right, then it's free money for him. If he really believes what he's saying, that there is no such thing as global warming, the temperature might just go down again, then it's free money for him. He has a 90% chance of winning. However, if global warming is real, then he has a 99% chance of losing. Now, I know about this time, a lot of you will be spotting the weak point in this plan. You don't have $20 million to make such a bet. No. But YouTube, hell, Google does. For them, this would be chump change. And let's be real, kind of positive PR. The $20 million challenge. That next year will be one of the hottest top 10 years on record. Make it an annual thing. 20 million in 2020, 21 million in 2021, and so forth. What's more, every year you win, which will of course be every year, you can donate your winnings to fund climate change research and climate change solutions. And even if you can't find anyone willing to lose $20 million a year on this, which I should mention that a billionaire could do for decades and still be a multi-millionaire.
The United States will withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord.
At least it would shut down this "it's a hoax" argument. Because it's there, it's open, anyone willing to put their money where their mouth is. The reality is global warming already massively outstrips the entire of mankind's power production. And even if we were to stop all of our carbon dioxide production tomorrow, the carbon dioxide that is currently in the atmosphere will be here for hundreds of years to come, constantly warming the earth. Look, once we got past the denial thing, maybe we can move on to solutions. There are somewhat less than 10 billion people on the planet, all living under the same atmosphere. All that we're asking for you, Google, is to bet 1/10 of a cent on each of their behalves for the future well-being of the planet.